Hey everybody, welcome back to Matthew Kelly Pottery. I hope you are doing well. Today I'm going to talk about some slip work, and specifically I'm going to show you how I did this tree on this jug using my white and my black slip. I'm going to go through some of the thought process and techniques of how I do that, and we're going to walk through that whole process together. So let's go. So for this, I'm going to be using two different kinds of slip. I'm going to be using my white slip, which in this bottle looks a little bit green, and then I'm going to be just, I guess the slip or the clay is actually starting to maybe mold a little bit in there. I don't know. And then I'm using what I call my black slip. It's a really dark brown in color now, but it's my red slip that I mix with local red clay, and then I add manganese to this to make it darker. So I mix both of these slips from scratch, and this is made out of probably a mixture of Oka Medium and Oka Grogawimi from Starworks here in Star. I get all my wood-fired clay from them. I normally use Oka Medium, which is a clay that they make that has a medium amount of grit, hence the Oka Medium. They were out of that and weren't going to have any in time for me to make all my pots, so I bought some Grogawimi, which has a little bit more grog, and then ended up getting some Okawimi Light, so that has a light amount of grog. So I've got a mixture. But these were I've got a couple of these. These were 6-pound jugs that I made. This one's dry now, but this one's about 14 and a half or so inches tall now that it's completely dry. So I made these a few days ago, and then we went on vacation, but I knew I was going to be doing this tree decoration on these, so I knew I could wait until I got back to do the decoration. So now if I was dipping this into a clay slip, I might not be able to do that when it's completely dry, but seeing I'm just doing this decoration, I can definitely get away with that. So like I said, I'm going to be using this white slip, and I use these in a hair applicator bottle, a color applicator from a beauty supply store, so you can whatever you want to use your slip, but I've got it so that it's a decent thickness as far as the texture of the slip in there. You don't want it too thick, and you don't want it too runny either, especially for this kind of application. So I'm going to start out just by doing the roots. I'm basically going to have a tree shape that I just do this sporadically, but I'm going to do some roots down here, and then I'm going to come up here in a jagged pattern and go off one way or both ways and do a bunch of branches, and then I'm going to use the black slip to do the leaves. And then this will just be raw on the outside with the little bit of ash from the kiln and the salt, and I will glaze the inside as a liner. So first I'm going to turn it a little bit this way, and then to do the roots, I'm just using this white slip, and I'm just kind of doing jaggedy lines, and I'm going to kind of trail off at the end so it comes to a point. And then some of these I'm going to thicken up by doing another line, and then fill that in a little bit, and then I'm going to do some little branches off of these as well. If I get too much slip gummed up in the end, it'll make some thick streaks or points at the end, and I don't want that, so you kind of have to keep the tip of it clean a little bit when I'm doing some of these. So there, I got some nice roots going on there, and then I'm going to turn this back around a little bit. I like to work, just depends on which way I'm going, but I'm doing this right-handed, so I'm going to kind of do it so that I can kind of start here and trail this way. I never really want to be working against where my hand is, and if you were left-handed, you'd probably have it turned the other way. So now I'm just going to kind of do some basic shape, and I'm just, like I said, just kind of don't have to really worry about getting this exactly right, because I can kind of adjust this by this the second line that I draw. And I'm going to kind of branch off this way as well. And then maybe from here I'll go up. I'm getting into Bob Ross mode here. Just giving our tree, and later we'll give it some leaves. We'll give it some little friends as some leaves. I do have that shirt that I wear every once in a while that says "Good Vibes Only." Got a Bob Ross, a picture of Bob Ross on it. But that, like I said, definitely want to do some decent branches off of here with plenty of little twigs to do the all the leaves. Because if you do leaves on the thick part, you can definitely tell it just doesn't look right. So I try to give myself plenty of little places to put the leaves. Yeah, I just tried this one time. I think maybe 6 months ago or a little bit longer. One of my early wood firings, and I just did one, and I was like, oh, let me see how this looks. And after that one came out, I'm like, it's one of those times that you're like, man, I wish I would have done like 20 of those. But I didn't. And then my last time I fired, I might have done 3 or 4, and I just have the one giant one left. So I thought, okay, I need to do some more and do some smaller sizes. So these are 6-pound jugs. I'll probably do some 3-pound jugs, and this design looks good on tall skinny bottles as well. So I'll probably do some taller skinny bottles, 3 and 6-pound sizes. Do a little bit of branch off of this. I don't like to do them right across from each other usually. I like to try to stagger them a little bit, just kind of. And I don't worry about filling it in completely along through there. And also, one other advantage to letting the pot actually get completely dry before I put this slip on is that as I was saying, one of the other advantages to waiting till the pot is completely dry or mostly dry to put the slip on is that if I put the white slip on thick enough on top of the dry pot, it actually is going to crack as it dries, so I'll get some nice kind of like cracks in the slip, and that makes it look even more rustic and old. And so my first one that I did had those cracks in it, and it totally was not intentional, but when it happened, it looked like it was intentional, but it came out really nice because of that. So. Alright, let's see. I'm going to kind of take a look at this from my angle and see. I believe I do have enough. I definitely have enough little twigs there, and I like kind of how it's balanced. The whole tree kind of goes this way and then back off this way, but the overall tree is nice and balanced. And so now, outside of these roots, from everything from here up, I'm going to start using my black slip and doing some little leaves. I know a real tree, of course, most of this you wouldn't even see most of the trunk and the branches, but I'm not going to cover any of that up. My leaves are basically going to consist of me taking just doing some little dots and coming to a point as I go away from the branch into the leaves. And some of these definitely overlap like that, and you just figure out a way to make it work. same with what I was doing before. I definitely want to have this so that I'm going away from where my hand is. That way I can kind of pull these dots to a point, and also my hand doesn't get in the way as I'm doing that. I definitely like to come to some form of a point at the end of the branch. Kind of looks good. So there's that side. Now I'm gonna flip it around, and as you have seen, I have this jar, or this jug, just resting on this old couch cushion. It's actually the cushion I normally sit on when I throw, but right now it's acting as a good cushion for this. The good thing about the just from my experience working with this white slip and the dark slip is that the dark slip will actually, depending on where it is in the kiln, it'll actually melt real nicely, and if it gets enough salt or ash on it, it may even actually like flatten out and run a little bit. But the white slip will definitely stay put. So no matter how thick, I mean, if I put on this black slip thick enough, it would probably stay 3D. But for the most part, especially with the thickness I'm using it, it's actually just going to melt down and be flat. But the white slip will stay 3D, and that gives a nice contrast as well. And my hand's getting a little tired from all these little. That's the disadvantage to having thicker slip in the bottle, is that it gets hard to keep that constant pressure. You know, after I get finished down here, this last branch, I'll go back and make sure I didn't miss any branches. Now you could actually mix your own slip by just taking the clay that you throw the pot out of, and then just probably drying it out first, and then adding it to water and get it into a nice consistency, and then add some either iron or manganese to make a slip. I just mix all this from scratch, but you could just use the clay body that you're using. Depending on how much grog it has in it, you definitely want a smoother clay just to help it come through your slip bottle. But yeah, it looks like I got just about all of the I got all the branches covered there. So we'll let that dry, and then we see I may do the other side. But usually I just do one side of these, but there is enough surface area that I could do another tree on the other side, but for the most part I usually just do one side of these, and then I get to pick the side in the kiln that I want one side of the jug to be a little bit more salty or more ash on it, and then the other side will be the lesser of those. Or I could do it where it's half and half, where this side gets hit the most with the ash and the salt. But one of the great things about doing the wood firing, you can actually, if you look closely, you can actually already start to see the white slip cracking here, and where I've got it on thicker. And as that, it's not going to break free from the jug, but that'll give some really nice characteristics to that once it's in the kiln and fired. So actually, these technically I could probably just line these as greenware and put them straight in the kiln. I'll probably best fire them anyways, just because I'll be best firing other pieces, and it's just a little bit easier to handle the pieces going into the kiln, even putting the liner glaze in it if they're best fired. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you liked it, and yeah, definitely love playing around with slip, and you should find some recipes or use some of the own clay that you have already. You could even just do the same color clay as what you're working with, and you'll still get the raised clay on it, but it won't be a different color. But just try it out, and yeah, maybe add some either stains or some oxides and see what you come up with. So thank you, thank you guys for your support on all of my YouTube videos, on my Instagram, all my social media, and all my patrons. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you. And yeah, stay tuned for more videos of all kinds pottery related. And don't forget to leave a like on the video if you liked it, and subscribe before you go, and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I'm doing more videos, and when I have a new video uploaded, or when I'm doing live streams. And yeah, just you can also check out my website. All that's in the description, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for everything, and we'll see you. Bye.